we're going to be touching on our AI as well as our new device control capabilities. And I'm going to start just due to a couple of neat integrations with our RBI. Now, for anyone using our VIPRE email security cloud, this might look a little familiar because this is also a feature we added to that specific product. But I'm really glad we do have them from both sides because of the different contexts that these can be used in. Because obviously for email, you might have a malicious link that comes in you want to investigate, but for EDR, this is going to be things that are happening on an individual machine. So they're two completely different areas that we would want to investigate these links. But like David touched on, the whole goal here is to provide a safe location to look at a potentially malicious link that doesn't cause any issues to your environment. So the alternative to using something like RBI would be the idea of maybe having a machine that's in a DMZ that's specifically designed to look into potentially malicious websites and be easily re-imaged if it's infected. Or what I come across a lot more often, which is just allowing a website through all of your security and just checking it on your machine to see if it's okay. Highly recommend against the second option. But here you can give us any link you'd like. We'll launch a temporary isolated browser on our side and just stream back to your machine what's happening. And I don't get to say this very often, obviously being in the security sphere where everything is, 99.99999 or whatever percent effective. But there's a 0% chance anything can actually happen to your computer through this process because nothing's actually happening on your computer. You're just seeing effectively a video of it happening somewhere else. And it's also super snappy. So for example, if I just type in VIPRE.com, I hit that, our RBI opens, and I'm on VIPRE.com. And I can go through any links here. And again, you see everything loads super quick, but absolutely nothing here. Like if there were banner ads, if there were pop-ups, nothing can actually impact my machine. And you have unlimited use to this feature as well. Which, moving on to our AI, is actually going to include a little integration with our remote browser isolation, because the first example I want to use is going to be a specific website that we'd like our AI to investigate. So if I go to our actual things that have been blocked, we can see this specific location blocked a number of different times on the same machine. So first off, just tossing out the integration, you can launch the remote browser directly from any detection that's made with our bad website blocking. But to what we're talking about right now, we're going to hit the AI, which instantly queues up the command to tell VIPRE AI to analyze this specific website. So this will just take a moment or so while we'll go investigate, perform a deep link analysis, and provide just a nice plain English explanation of what's going on. So we found that this is malicious. It contains the classifications of a virus site, and it's also going to be a phishing site. All the other details you see here, there were YAR rules triggered. It includes the detection of a specific Trojan. The domain is an IP address, which is always a giant sign that something's going to be malicious. And the other notes you see here, the SSL certificate's insecure and so on. But the idea is we're going to take all this raw information and give some recommendations. In this case, don't visit this site because it's going to be malicious. And you can even see right here that this is going to be typical for phishing sites that are aiming to steal credentials, because if you look down, this is a fake PayPal site. We can even select that icon to view this full screenshot of what we saw. And it looks legitimate, well, ish. Then with that, we now know that this is something that we need to make sure we report on, and we need to educate the environment to let them know, hey, this is a bad site. We need to ensure you do not go here. And if we need to investigate further, like you see, we can launch our remote browser with just a single click of a button to investigate this site to determine if it's going to be malicious. But all that's done just by going to our web activity report saying, oh man, what's this site that was hit a couple of times? Clicking one button, and now you know everything you need to know about this location. I'm a huge fan of this AI. I think it's been an amazing addition to the product. But that said, I also have a bit more of a complex example here. So one of the things we added quite a bit back here with our endpoint product is going to be AMSI scripting protection that allows us to guard against malicious scripts. And here we see a script that was stopped a number of times, but as you can see, it is a very long script. So I've taken this, selected the VIPRE AI option, and once again, we automatically populate the command with all this encoded information. And our VIPRE AI is actually going to take that information and decode it to the actual command that was run, which is one of the big ways threats like to circumvent a lot of detection methods. So with that, we can just hit one button, copy that code, paste the new information, and tell VIPRE AI to analyze the actual script that was going to be run, not just the effectively gibberish, if you don't decode it, information that we saw with the initial detection. And once we do that, once again, we get all the information regarding this specific script. So just like before, we're going to get the raw information. This is going to check the architecture on the machine, how the process begins, basic information about setting details. The most important aspect when it comes to what we're actually looking at is the specific arguments, where it doesn't run with a profile. It's going to be running as hidden, and it's going to run in here, create a script block from a stream reader object, meaning that it's most likely going to be from a remote system, so we don't know exactly what it's going to do. So, as we saw before with the website check, we get all this raw information about what's going on, but then the AI is able to go and give you some information that we've interpreted through all of this data, where this is going to check to see if this is something at 64 or 32-bit to understand how to run. It hides. It uses a script block to potentially obfuscate the actual commands that are being run. Can't believe I said that word right the first try. And finally, we even get recommendations. In this case, do not run this script unless you're absolutely sure of what's going on. If you have access to it, analyze the full script that would be run and use security tools to actually investigate to see if this is going to be malicious or not. However, it most likely is. So with that, we've gone through, had a script block automatically, nothing needed to happen. We tap the AI key, which is going to go and take that information, let us know it is encoded, decode that information, give us that information to analyze, and let you know exactly what occurred with that script, taking out a lot of the question of basically if you don't have this AI capability of just knowing, oh, hey, a script was stopped. I don't recognize it. It must be bad. No, you get the ability to actually investigate what's going on. And on top of that, just to show yet another integration, and this is what VIPRE David was mentioning earlier, where we can even use this AI tool to control aspects of the product. And going back to the RBI, we can say, create a safe link to VIPRE.com. And it'll go through, use our RBI tool, and automatically give us a link to navigate to VIPRE.com. And obviously this can be used to go anywhere, not just VIPRE.com, but if you haven't been to VIPRE.com, maybe give us a visit. Check out all the cool stuff we have. However, that's going to be what I really wanted to touch on with our AI. And I, again, am super happy about this addition because it provides a massive amount of the context that's going to be needed with this ever increasing complexity that comes with different security tools these days. Which leads us to another feature that I'm really happy that we've managed to add to the product, and that's going to be our removable device control. With the concept being, we want to ensure that different users that have the extra risk of maybe not understanding what a flash drive that they found in the parking lot might do to a machine or an environment, or maybe something along the lines of, we want to ensure none of our employees are plugging in personal drives to grab a bunch of data and leave the environment with it. So as you can see, and you saw in the actual presentation, enabling device control adds just the three basic options. Removable drives. Do you want them to have access, or do you want us to just report on it? Same thing with DVD drives. And also, do you want people to be able to use their mobile phones, tablets, and all these other removable storage devices as well? And we classified them separately because you might want people to be able to plug in their phones and utilize that information. But we can take all this information and utilize it within our report, which will let us know every time something is either denied. So if we chose to block something, we can easily see that here, or we can see if something is actually plugged in if we're in the report only mode, which is a great thing to have because even if we decide that we don't want to block, like, device control is neat, but I don't want to actually block devices. That's fine. This can still act from an auditing perspective where you can know every single device anyone does plug in. But from the opposite point of view, if you actually are using device control to stop things, we'll tell you every time something is denied, and we have the capability of just saying, you know what, I actually do want them to use this specific device. So if this is like the building's USB drive that you're going to use to move files around, we can add that specific device to our exclusion list while still blocking any other devices of the same type. And I'm a big fan of this because, like David said, we have our VIPRE Server Edition, which has had this feature for quite some time. And now we have full feature parity between the cloud and the on-prem, allowing the cloud to perform everything the on-prem agent is doing. So anyone that is using our VIPRE Server Edition, maybe give our cloud side a look because there is absolutely nothing you'll lose from the point of view of the agent at this point.